Now, as Napoleon III had invaded Mexico in the spring of 1862, he had landed 6,000 French troops on the eastern coast of Mexico at Veracruz and was marching them straight on Mexico City, hoping to take it. But in the small village of Puebla were organized 1,000 or more militia, which are basically civilians who step up to stand the fight for their homeland. And they withstood the French for several hours to the point where the French were losing numbers horribly, and they wound up retreating. And when word of this got out in Mexico, this all took place on the 5th of May, 1862. Hence the term Cinco de Mayo. That's where that came from, was the Battle of Puebla. And it became a symbol of Mexican unity and resistance against foreign invasion, and it became a rallying cry, not throughout all of Mexico, to rally the people to stand against the French, the Battle of Puebla. And needless to say, Napoleon was pretty ticked off when he found out that his army had been embarrassed by a bunch of civilians, and so he sent over another 30,000 French troops over to Mexico, including some of the French Foreign Legion, which are some of the hardest troops in all the French Empire. And what happened after that was he actually occupied Mexico because, like nothing else, he was sure to guarantee that the Mexican people would fold under weight of numbers, which they did. And then he set up a puppet state. And there was anything but stability in the area. It was just a complete mess. And what had happened was, after the end of the American Civil War, the United States was no longer fighting the Confederacy, so there was one more thing for Napoleon to worry about. And also, the Prussians had just defeated Austria-Hungary right on its border. And so what happened was General Grant in the United States sent General Sheridan with 50,000 Union troops to the border of Texas by the Rio Grande to stand as a warning to Napoleon to either move it or you're going to have to deal with the United States. And so he decided under those two matters that he was going to withdraw all of his men, and he completely withdrew his design in 1867. But Napoleon was still hungry for his war. So instead of looking to the west, he looked to the east, to what he perceived to be the smaller, weaker German states. And he thought easily he could just manhandle those states and bend them to his will, much like his uncle had. This all begins in 1870, at the beginning of what will be called the Franco-Prussian War. More on that to come.